Tonight, we're really lucky to have Dr. Andrea Holmes with us. Dr. Andrea is a chiropractor in Calgary, and she's based out of Divine Spine on McLeod Trail. And she is a frequency-based chiropractor, so she does not do the typical snap, crackle, pop that a lot of us are used to. She uses an apparatus that puts the spine into an alignment, and she really does believe in alignment. And so she's quite versed at the brain-body connection. So last weekend we were doing the women's show and we had people stand and see how long they could stand on one leg with their eyes closed. It was quite interesting to see how we all have a difficult time with that. Can you last 10 seconds? And so that's a lot of what her practice is about really the nervous system connection. And it's really a refreshing thing to see with somebody who's got their doctorate. She also has her master's in sports science. So she's very versed in how everything works. And we're privileged tonight to have her talk about stem cell decline, what that looks like for us, and how we can help ourselves increase the level of stem cells that we've got going on in our body. There's ways that we can do that. So she's going to speak to that this evening. So this is the theme tonight. Is it aging or is it signaling? And it's a look how we repair, renew, and reset. I just want to make a disclaimer that we're not saying that we're diagnosing, treating, curing, or mitigating or preventing any disease or medical condition of the body. Dr. Andrea is a doctor, so she's going to be talking in some clinical terms, but we will be keeping only symptoms and no disease names. Dr. Andrea, welcome, and thank you for lending your time this evening.
Well, welcome everyone. I am glad you're here. Thank you for coming. I always love talking about this. It's kind of becoming one of my favorite topics. So let's jump right in, right? So we want to honor your time for sure. So when your body starts to slow down, it really slows us down. So if you're here, there's usually a reason. Something shifted, something doesn't feel quite right, doesn't feel the same. Maybe it's stiffness in the morning, maybe your energy isn't where it used to be, or your body just isn't bouncing back the way it used to. And most people at some point start to wonder, is this just me getting older? Because when those changes start to affect our day-to-day life, people often feel it in their joints, such as their knees, their hips, their shoulders. But it's not just about the joints. It's about how your whole body is actually functioning. Because your body doesn't respond the way it used to, you feel it everywhere. You don't move the same, you don't recover the same, and you certainly don't have the same energy. And that's where most people start, right? Most people aren't looking to be optimized. They're looking to start to feel better again. They're looking for relief and they're looking for answers. It's a natural assumption that the body is simply just breaking down, that the pain, the stiffness, and the slower recovery is just part of getting older. But what if there's another perspective worth considering here? What if the body isn't failing? What if it's just not producing or receiving the same level of signaling that it once did? Because when we understand that when we look at the body in that way, we shift from chasing symptoms to supporting systems. And that's where this conversation really begins, not with what's broken, but with what may simply need to be supported again. When we look at stem cells, they're often referred to as our body's master cells. They play a role in repair, in renewal, and maintenance across every major system: muscle, joints, skin, connective tissue, internal organs, you name it, they're part of it. They don't just replace the cells, they coordinate how the body responds to stress, to strain, and to injury. You can think of them less as workers, but more as your project managers. They decide what gets fixed, when, and how. Stem cells don't do the work, they direct it. They are the communication system behind the repair. So when they are active and responsive, the body heals the way it's designed to, and there's no problem. When they are not, the whole system slows down. Repair takes longer, recovery takes longer, and everything slows down, and it shows. it isn't only numbers, it's activity, right? So here's what is so important. As we age, it isn't just the number of stem cells that changes, it's their activity. By the time you hit 30, and a lot of us know this, only about 50% of your stem cells are actively working. But by the time we hit 60, that number drops to about 10%. 10. Many of the remaining cells are dormant. They're less responsive to the signals, slower to engage, and slower to repair. So the real question isn't where did they go? It's why did they stop responding? Which is why people often say, kind of half jokingly, I know exactly what I want to be when I get older, dot, 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 younger, right? Because age doesn't have to feel like decline. It can look more like slower signaling. And signaling is something that we can work with. So, as repair slows with age, people start to look for ways to support it or to replace it. One of the most common options they explore is stem cell injections. The sources typically include bone marrow drawn from patients, adipose tissue taken from body fat, or donor-derived cells from outside sources. They are often used for knees, hips, and shoulders. For some people, this can be a helpful intervention, but it's also very invasive, expensive, and not always accessible. And it does not always address the foundational question underneath all of this. Injections don't rebuild the tissue, they create a temporary signal, and your body responds to it. So the question becomes, do we keep adding, or do we improve the signal your body already has? So before someone chooses stem cell injections, the questions are usually the same. What will this cost? Will it actually work? So in the United States, the typical out-of-pocket price is around $5,000 to $8,000 per joint, with your back often running even higher, and almost none of it is covered by insurance. Research shows that roughly 60 to 80% of patients report some kind of relief, with maximum improvement between 3 to 6 months. But the relief isn't permanent, and understanding why is the point. When stem cells are injected, the cells themselves are cleared within hours. They don't take up permanent residence. What they do is release anti-inflammatory signals. Again, the signals. They stimulate the tissue. They do not rebuild it, and they do not wake up their own master cells. But here's the thing. The body already has these cells. What actually changed? The cells didn't disappear. Most of them are still right there where they've always been. So the question isn't just how do we add more? It's why did the ones we already have start responding? And when we start asking it that way, the conversation begins to shift a little bit. Maybe it isn't really just about the cells at all. Maybe it's about the communication around them, the signals they're supposed to be receiving. The good news, you're not stuck. There are several real foundational ways to support how your body repairs. Things like fasting, calorie restriction, regular exercise, especially strength training, especially as we age. Quality of sleep, you have to get your sleep because that's where most of the cell repair happens. Cold exposure like ice baths, heat through sauna, nutrient-dense diets, managing stress through breath work. These are all signals to your body. And today we're going to focus on one of the most interesting signals, I think, and it's light and how it connects to something called GHKCU. So GHKCU, it's a communication peptide. So let's talk about it. It's a natural peptide in your body, and its job is simple: communication. It tells your body how to repair, and it tells your cells how to respond. It's not doing the work, it's directing it. It's the instruction manual to your body. And when that signal fails, the response fades. And when that signal is strong, the stem cells listen. And when those messages go out clearly, the master cells, the stem cells, are far more likely to engage. Here's the connection. As we age, the level of GHKCU tends to decline. And when the signal becomes weaker, the communication tied to repair and renew become weaker with it. These master cells are still there. They're just not getting the same volume of clear communication. So that drop we talked about earlier, from that 50% at 30 to 10% at 60, may not only be about the cells themselves, it may also be about the messages that they're no longer receiving, which means the real opportunity isn't necessarily to replace the cells, but maybe to support the signals. We already understand that light can influence the body, right? We all know that. When sunlight hits your skin, when you go out in the sun, your body uses that light to help produce vitamin D. Nothing is injected, nothing is added. The light itself acts as a signal that tells the body to do something very specific. We all know that. Your body's already wired to respond to specific wavelengths of light. So the idea that light could support other signaling pathways in the body is not speculative. It's simply an extension of something we have known for decades and decades and decades. So the question is, what else can light signal? So if light can act as a signal, the next question becomes, how can we use it more intentionally? Phototherapy is built on a simple idea. Light is information. Your body already gives off light, even if you can't see it, and that's where this technology comes in. These are phototherapy patches. They're designed to interact with the light from your body that your body already produces, and it reflects it back into your body at a very specific way. That reflection becomes a signal to your body to respond to, a process called photobiomodulation, where light influences how your body actually functions. Nothing goes in your body. It's non-invasive. It's non-transdermal. It's simply supporting the signaling pathways that are already there, just like the vitamin D. So let's be clear a little bit about what these are and what they are not, right? So nothing goes in your body. They're non-transdermal, like we talked about, so nothing enters your bloodstream. There are no drugs, no stimulants, and no interference with any medication. What they are is very simple. They reflect light back into your body and the light that your body's already producing. Infrared, invisible light that you can't really see. That reflection becomes the signal to your body so it can respond. Again, nothing added, nothing absorbed, just signaling technology. That's why I really love these. So, what is actually inside the patch? It's organic nanocrystals arranged in a proprietary patent crystal formation. Each patch contains different portions of combinations of amino acids, water, stabilized oxygen, sugar, salt. Because the ratios are different, each patch forms a different crystalline lattice structure. And because the lattice structure is different, each patch reflects a different frequency of light back into your body. Different frequencies activate different pathways, which means each patch is designed to elevate a specific, normally occurring peptide that your body already produces. In the case of the X39 patch, that peptide is GHKCU. So let's put these two approaches side by side. One side, we have stem cell injection therapy, adding new cells through invasive procedures, often with significant cost, recovery time, and clinical access required. On the other side, we have a light-based signaling supportive approach, non-invasive, wearable, designed to support the body's own communication around peptides, such as GHKCU. These are not the same strategies. One replaces, the other reminds the body what to do, because the body already knows what to do. So In November of 2025, LifeWave's X39 phototherapy patch, along with Celergize, was named Stem Cell Innovation of the Year by the Biotech Breakthrough Awards. Now, that really matters because this isn't a wellness award. This is a biotechnology award. These are judged by scientists, research, industry leaders across thousands of submissions around the world. And that's important because you don't just win a biotech award which is competing against pharmaceutical companies and clinical stage therapies unless there's real science behind it. So, for a non-invasive, light-based technology to win in that space, it's alternative. This is where science is going. We are on the cusp of where science is going. So, let's talk a little bit about this Celergize because it was part of the complex that had us win. So Celergize Morning is the companion to X39. So while X39 works through light from the outside, this supports the body from the inside through targeted nutrition. It's a clean blend of amino acids, minerals, antioxidants, prebiotic fibers designed to support the same signaling pathways. Together, they work for the system that received the award. So that was the system that got the award. Unfortunately, on a side note, this product is not yet in Canada. It is coming, but it's not yet there. But I wanted to touch base on that because it was the combination that got us over the hump and that got us to win this award. So I did want to put that in here. Hopefully it's coming sooner than later. So I did want to talk a little bit. I wanted to give you things to do because if you do nothing else, you want to start here. These are fundamental things that you need to do to help your body repair. Because no matter what you do, whether, you do patches, whether you do chiropractic, whether you do anything, even the stem cell injections, you have to get your body, your temple to be able to take what you offer to it, that it can heal. So there are basic things you have to do. One, you have to prioritize your sleep, 6 to 7 hours. If you are not sleeping, you are not healing, period. You have to strength train 2 to 3 times per week because that's how you keep the muscles active. As we get older, we tend to lose muscle mass. And so by doing the strength training, we will keep that ongoing. And we need those muscles because they keep us standing and moving and doing all the things we need to do. You want to increase your protein intake. As we get older, we need more protein. And typically what happens is we tend to eat less protein. So you need to increase your protein intake on a daily basis. Big one, you have to regulate stress. We've talked about this in the past. If your body is stressed out and it thinks that it's being attacked by a bear, because that's all it has, it's bear or no bear, you're not healing. You have to control your stress. The easiest way to do that is square breathing. You do a count of 4. So 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold out, so that you're breathing in a box. Because when you slow down your breathing, your body goes, I must not be as stressed as I think I am because I can't be breathing this slowly. It's a way of tricking your body. You can't change sometimes what's happening at you and the stress that's coming at you, but you can change how you respond to it. And that's the key. You have to bring down your stress. You won't heal if you do not. Right? And the last thing, of course, is you want to support your signals with light-based technology. That is one of the easiest ways to do it. So your body already knows how to repair. Whoop, one more back. Your body already knows how to repair. What we want to do is we want to support it, right? We want to give it things to do. You can go next. So the goal isn't to replace the body system, right? It's to support how they communicate. So if your body already has the cells and it already has the ability, then maybe the real problem is that it's not broken. Maybe we just need to get the right signals, right? So at the end of the day, it isn't about replacing your body. It's about supporting how it communicates. Your body already knows how to repair. It just needs the right signals. Some people try the more invasive option first, for sure, because they feel that's the way to go. And then sometimes they shift to something more like this. So I want to kind of now talk to you and introduce you to Karen, who did exactly that. And I want to let her share her story. So I'll let Lisa do a little bit more of that introduction. So I'm here at the end if you have questions, if you have any, if you want to talk about anything, but this is definitely the direction to go in the future.
Thank you so much, Dr. Andrea. That's fantastic. I love how it just is so great with the comparisons about what was and what is now, and that this actually is the way of the future. And here we are. And I think that I just want to touch on the founder, David Schmidt, and the company LifeWave. It was 2004 when the company was formed, so well over 20 years ago. And the research that he's done has been incredible. And the fact that we're on PubMed and we have all this science backing for a natural product, that's pretty amazing. And I love the ethicalness of the company as well. So we're really lucky. And for those of you that don't know much about the company, it's really worth getting to know, get back to the person that introduced you and ask them more questions about it. We really want to focus on what this product is doing tonight. So we're going to go there. There is a water machine as well. If you're in the United States, it's called X2O, and it's a light infused water machine. So that's really something to take a look at as well. And us Canadians are a little bit jealous, but that's okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about Karen Johnson. Karen is amazing, and what happened was very amazing. So she went to see Dr. Andrea, and she's been a client of hers for a while. So I've heard your story a few times now, Karen, and your stories blew me away. It really did. And it was interesting that we kind of came into this space where we were doing this theme. So I'd love to hear from you what your experience has been. So please take it away.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for that lovely introduction. Dr. A, absolutely love your presentations. I can't believe it. I learn something every time I listen to you. So thank you. Okay, my health journey actually started back in my 20s. I was working at a career I loved, and I was going to the gym, and I was just a typical 20-something year old. And I just was not doing well. I had a lot of swelling throughout my entire body. I had a lot of agony all the time. So I just kept going back to the doctor and saying, what is wrong with me? And finally, they just looked at my spine, and the doctor looked at me and said, you have the spine of a typical 70-year-old. And I was like, oh, okay, that is interesting. So I understood now, okay, what my body is going through, why I feel these things, why this is happening. And I had to make a lot of changes. I couldn't do things like play tennis anymore, and I had to be very careful with the activities and everything I was doing. I felt I couldn't sit for long periods of time. I couldn't stand for long periods of time, those kind of things. And then, unfortunately, when I was in my 30s, I had a fall down 12 marble stairs. And that exasperated my issue 100 times, I swear. It was terrible. I landed actually on my rib cage on my left side, and my body went into, now I understand, it went into fight or flight mode. It just completely went off the charts. And I spent many, many, many years trying to figure out what I could do to get back my mobility. I couldn't sit at all. I couldn't stand at all. My legs went numb if I stood for any length of time. I ended up losing my lovely career due to not being able to have a life pretty much at all. I was on a lot of medications. I did everything and anything that somebody would suggest for me to do. I did it. Throughout my entire 30s and 40s, I have spent more time in the medical world than most people will ever spend in a lifetime, doing everything: chiropractic, massage, TPI injections, water rehabilitation. I have done, oh boy, you name it, I have done it. Honestly, if someone thought this might help you, I'd be like, I'll do it. I was in that much needing of a fix, just to have a little bit more quality of life, really, is what I was looking for. I knew there was no fix, or I thought there was no fix. Things progressively got worse, and to the point where my knees sort of outweighed everything else in the agony and problems I was having. And eventually I had a knee specialist tell me that I was bone on bone. both knees, and they'd had to be both be replaced, but I was too young for them to do that. They wouldn't do that at this point. Apparently, you only get one knee replacement a lifetime, typically. So they said, nope, you're going to have to wait. So I really went on the search at that point to find out what modalities are out there that will improve my life. I was already seeing a specialist, a pain management specialist, and he actually recommended me to a naturopath. I went and saw her, and she started doing what is called PRP injections, where they take the blood from your body, separate the red and white blood cells, and then reintroduce the red blood cells into the areas that you want your body to heal. So it's basically a big target on your body saying, go to this space and heal this. So a stem cell injection, excuse me, and costly. Oh boy, very, very expensive. And I was getting 2 doses per knee every 6 months. So I was paying $600 per knee every 6 months. And the agony, I couldn't believe I was paying for this. I could not believe I was putting myself through this and paying for it just to try to get some relief. Yeah, so I did that for years. I had a cane, I had a knee brace, and people would kind of meet me and say, oh, sports injury? And I just kind of go, yeah, laugh it off, because, I'm not going to tell these people what my life has been like basically since my 20s, right? So then I got really lucky and blessed. I truly feel extremely blessed to have found Dr. Andrea and be introduced to the LifeWave patches, because they have changed my life. When I was first introduced to Dr. A, so good story about Dr. A here, I was actually scrolling through Instagram and I saw her doing an adjustment on someone, and they were doing the neck of this lady, and my neck at that point was also extremely problematic, I'll say that. And my body just screamed, you need that, you need that. So I made an appointment with her, went to see her, and she looked at everything and said, wow, I could see why you're in the issues that you feel like you're having, because your spine is pretty poor, as we talked about, and my neck was actually curved opposite way of a regular neck is curved. So I worked with her for months on that, and it's been a massive improvement in my life. But of course, I still had overall issues, especially my knees. I'd come in and I'd be limping, and she'd be like, oh, your knees. And I'd be like, yeah, my knees. And I never really talked to her about my knees, because I'd always was focused on my neck with her. And that's when she introduced me to the LifeWave patches. I was in 100%. Yep, I understand this. I've been doing all these injections. I know this stuff is out there. Tell me more. So I started using the patches on May 26th of last year. And I took a picture of my face and my body and everything and thought, okay, let's see what happens, because I heard it does all these amazing things. And on day 5, I woke up and I knew something was different. I woke up and I just felt excited and energetic and happy, which, not that I wasn't happy before, but just excited about life again, which I haven't had for a long time. And I swung my legs out of bed and I put my feet on the floor and I stood up and I was like, whoa, I have not been able to walk without a limp for years, especially first thing in the morning. And I was like, that's interesting. Okay. And I thought, okay, let's go on, give it a couple of weeks, see what happens. I was so worried it was a placebo effect, that my brain just wanted this to work so badly that it was just doing it for me. But nope. I can tell you, 6 weeks later, I was like, I am hooked. I did a little video and I sent it to everybody I know and said, look, I just cannot believe how much better I'm feeling. I can't believe how good I feel. I felt all the swelling in my body like dissipating. Like it just felt like it was just going away. And my nervous system was calming down. I was sleeping so much better. And when your nervous system calms down, and it's been alert for a long time, you sure notice it. The brain fog was unbelievable for me. The anxiety just from your body always being on edge. My heart rate, my resting heart rate was so high late before that, because again, my body was just constantly in adrenaline mode, I think. And I didn't realize all that. I did realize that, and I had done things to try to fix it. Anything I would do, but nothing would take it down. Nothing would take me to a point where I actually felt calm. And I was like, wow. And so when all of that got calm, And my body was able to probably go in then and start doing what it's supposed to do. So I used the Aeon patch. I don't know, we haven't talked about this yet, but the Aeon patch, they call it different names for that. The helping with the nervous system, and the X39 helping to rebuild my body. So I will never ever go with either those two now. That's for darn sure. So that was about 6 weeks in. And then by 3 months, I took a picture of my face and I was like, whoa, look at the difference in my skin. My face tightened. My wrinkles were starting to get a lot less deep. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't in it for the skincare part, but boy, I sure appreciate that. And then again, as more months have gone by, I have noticed that I can rebound much faster from things when things do happen, because they still do. If I do something silly, like have a fall or something, I would take a very long time to rebound from that prior, with heat, ice, chiropractic, injections, you name it, I did it all. Whereas I had a pretty nasty fall not too long ago. I was able to use my 2 patches I just talked about, plus the ice wave patch. In 24 hours, I was back to before the fall, which is unheard of for me, unheard of. So, and the biggest thing, honestly, the biggest thing that has sort of made me super excited about this is I had my blood work done at the 7-month mark, which was just in February of this year. I get my blood work done every year in February, and they've been tracking my C-reactive protein levels for the last 14 years, and they've been completely off the charts, like very scary high. And for the first time in 14 years, my C-reactive protein levels were within normal range. Like literally cried when I got that. I might get cry now, because I knew I felt better, but it's just hard to explain that to people, like how much better I feel. And to know that my body feels like it's like it was 14 years ago, almost like I reversed before that fall, maybe even prior to that, who knows. But yeah, this is, someone just wrote something about that. Yeah. So I tell you, it's changed my life in so many ways.
You know, you really, it's been remarkable, all of the things that were compounding, all the things that compounded from what you had, and then the results of what was compounding in the opposite, that pendulum swing. So it's been just remarkable to watch your transformation. And, I didn't know you before, but I can tell you that I know that your friends that I met was like, he went shopping with us. And she was walking and she was doing the things. And she's like, no, you don't understand. She went shopping. Like, this is huge. And then I said to you, what are some of the things that you can do now that you couldn't do before? And you were just like, you gave me a whole list. Can you remember what that list was?
Oh yeah, I can sit. I literally haven't been able to sit for years. I can't go for long dinners. I couldn't go to movie theaters. I can't go for car rides. I cannot put my spine in like a 90-degree angle at any time. I always have to be conscious of what positions my spine's in. I have to be able to stand or lay down or sit all the time for years and years and years. That was my day, going between those 3 constantly. I can wash my hair. I had such a hard time washing my hair prior to this, between my shoulders and my neck and my everything else. I mean, you name an activity, I can do it now. I can grocery shop. I can go for walks. I can do the things I should be able to do at 51 years of age, right? So, yeah.
You look absolutely fantastic. I've seen the pictures and you were really, really vulnerable and raw because she was like, I've got no makeup on. I don't want everybody to see it. I have to tell you the remarkable difference on your skin. And we know that that's doing such great work from the inside out, you
Yeah.
know. And I want to ask you, you started the patches May 2025. Is that right?
That's
And
correct.
when was the last time you were saying that you got your knees injected twice a year? It was really painful. I know that you had said that to me. It was really difficult to even bear it. When was the last time you had to do that other procedure?
So the last injection I received was late of 2024. I think it was early December of 2024. And I was definitely due for one come May of 2025. I was limping and just not thriving, not thriving. And the second I put those patches on, I have not even thought about getting those injections.
Wow. just amazing. I'm so thankful. You're making me teary. I made it through the whole thing without, I
Yeah.
almost lost it. I have to tell you, you're
Oh,
remarkable, Karen. Yeah, just
thank you.
remarkable. Thank you so, so much. I know that there's going to be lots of questions, and I'm just going to open it up for that. When we were talking earlier today, and she took the advice from, because some people were saying what patches, X39 and Eon are her very favorite go-to with the ice wave. It's kind of that basic hack to get your body back into balance, right? And so those ones are really important. And I know that I'm saying, where do you wear them? A lot of times people wear them on K1. It's a kidney 1 point on the bottom of the foot, 10 on the left, white on right. It opens up the energy. And I know that you had said that you heard David Schmidt, the founder, the CEO, and inventor of the patches with LifeWave. He had given a talk on if your knees are really in bad shape, like yours were. Can you repeat what you said? I'm so sorry, I don't have the slide up to show, but could you talk us through that visual? When your knees were really bad, what was your go-to patch with?
Yeah, absolutely. What he shows is that you put the Aeon on the inside of the knee. So if it's your right knee, you put on the inside of the right knee, and you put the Renew on the outside of the right knee, sort of surrounding it from bone on bone knee. And then you don't have to, but you can put the Advanced on the top of the knee. And those three in combination will help a ton.
Oh, that's awesome. And I just want to say that for people that are in the States, Renew is glutathione. We have to
Yep.
call it that. Thanks, Tina's got it in the chat. And carnosine is what's called advanced. So, when you're in chronic situations like that, you might have to go outside of that basic pack to just say, this is really critical right now. I have to get it under control. I did see that. Thank you, Karen, for that. I wanted to ask Dr. Andrea, somebody's talking about, can you speak about hydration?
When it comes to hydration, you have to drink your water. The rule of thumb is half your weight in ounces. It's a lot more than people think, right? People think it's 8 glasses. Well, a 6'7", 300-pound guy and a 4'9" petite woman are not drinking 8 glasses each and getting the benefit. It's half your weight in ounces. You weigh 200 pounds, you're drinking 100 ounces of water. It's a lot more than you think. The reason it's important because light holds information and water carries information. So if you are dehydrated, two things happen. One, if you're dehydrated, think of all of the joints in your body like sponges, whether it's your discs, your meniscus, your bursa, think of them like sponges. If you don't drink enough water, those sponges are going to start to shrink. Think of a sponge. It'll start to shrink. That sponge, you can't bend it, you can't move it, it won't do anything. And if you force it, you'll rip it. You take that same sponge, you wet it, now it gets nice and thick and you can do whatever you want with it. Second thing is if you are not drinking enough water, there's not enough water to transport the information, and your patches are not going to work as effectively because there has to be a way for that information to get through the system. So, number one, you have to drink your water because that is how, number two, you're going to get your patches to be even more effective. Because a lot of times people are like, well, it didn't do anything or it didn't help me or whatever they say. The first thing you got to go back with is how much water did you drink today? Because if you're not drinking any water, it doesn't matter how many patches you put on. There's nothing to transport the information, and your body can only do what your body can do. So here's the thing. It's not about the diagnosis. It's about allowing your body the capacity to be able to heal itself. Your body, we are born with this incredible innate intelligence. You cut your finger, you don't have to think about fixing your finger. Your body just automatically does it. You don't have to think about breathing or you don't have to think about beating your heart. You're not having to be aware of any of that stuff. The problem is, and that's what I talk about in my practice, is when your brain can't communicate with your body very well, things start falling apart and then they start becoming named problems. We'll leave it at that. What I do in my practice, which is very similar to what happens here in the patches, it's why I'm so involved with this because of how it meshes with what I do, is the whole premise is you need your brain to start functioning better in talking to the body. It needs better signals. It needs less interference. It needs a healthier body. It needs all these pieces. One thing at a time is not just going to make it change. I mean, if you think of Karen, she's been doing lots and lots of stuff to try and help her system. It wasn't just a one thing and everything was perfect. Like she had prepped her system beforehand. So it's not really about does it help for this, does it help for that? It's more, am I making my body as healthy as it physically can be? Am I drinking enough water? Am I removing the interference? Of course, I have to add that in. I am a chiropractor. Come on now. And, like, am I doing the things I'm supposed to be doing to get the body to start communicating with the brain better? Because it's the brain to the body and it's the body to the brain. That communication has to go. Because if the brain talks to the body, but the body never comes back up and tells the brain, says, yep, I got it, there's no, it's not a, it needs to be a two-way pathway. And so what these patches do is they now start improving the signaling, which now allows that connection to happen. And that's why there's so many different, if we can call them miracles, that happen with the patches. They're not miracles. It's your body finally doing what it's supposed to do and what it's capable of doing. You just have to give it all the pieces that it needs in order to get to that point.
Yeah, that's really great. And that's the thing, is that it's really about giving your body that. Your body's so intelligent. It's just like, here's the key you've been looking for. Here, let's unlock that door. So I love the way that you put that. And Karen said something interesting, which is going to lead me to a segue of something. And she said, I wasn't sure if my brain just wanted me to have this happen because I was so desperate. And, was it placebo? And that's what we've experienced too. I know Dr. Andrea has experienced the look where your brain can't process what just happened because you've been in a state for so long, and then you start to feel better and you're like, really? Is it that? And some people had an experience right away. Dr. Andrea, I did as well, where it was like one hit wonders where you had some back issues, I had shoulder issues, and we patched and we were transformed in those seconds from where we were at. So that was really remarkable that we had that experience. But for every 10 years you've been on the planet, give it a month. Most people, they've had this chronic condition for a long time. And so you really need to be dedicated to saying, this is my commitment to me. My cells deserve this. My cells are telling me, stick with it. Just because it doesn't work in month number 2 for you, and you're like, well, I'm not feeling anything. It's working. We know the science behind it is there. We know that we've won Stem Cell Innovation of the Year for 2025 for a reason. This is working. So just give your body that chance to catch up. I mean, this didn't happen overnight. Your knees did not happen overnight to you, Karen. And the fact that 5 days in, you were feeling how you were feeling is quite remarkable. I think that where you were at, you would have said, I'll give it 6 months, a year, if I can. And here you are. Tina just put into the chat affordable light therapy for you. Thank you, Tina, because that's a really great place to go and hear people's stories as well, because we have a ton of them. We have a ton of them because this works. And I do want to segue and say that the placebo effect is what sometimes we tell ourselves. And you'll hear people say that. There will be the people that won't be able to come into the light with us, and that's okay. Sometimes they need more information. Sometimes it's a foreign concept. But when we talk about placebo, Tina's our resident expert on horses and what that looks like when it comes to placeboing horses. You can't convince a horse to feel better. You cannot convince an animal that was limping before to feel good and run away and go, oh my gosh, and release this emotion. We've watched it with her. So she's an amazing equine therapist, and she's got a webinar coming up. Tina, when is your webinar coming up?
Next Tuesday evening, the 28th at 6:30 p.m. PST. Oh my goodness, there it is. We've got
Excellent.
guest expert Gerard Gladney joining us that as well on the 28th.
Fantastic. That's one that you won't want to miss. It's a really great time to come and learn about it. And there's actually a clinical study on horses, and you're going to see some pretty amazing visuals, but I won't be a spoiler. Tina's going to share all of that. So Do get back to the person that that introduced you to the patches and to this meeting. And Dr. Andrea is going to be back next month. The topic is peptides. So we're going to have a lot of fun on that one. And Dr.
Thank you.
Andrea, I'll leave it for you to close off the meeting and your parting words of wisdom.
So pretty much if you take care of yourself, your body will take care of yourself, right? You have to work in conjunction. You can't put the expectation outside of your system and not take some responsibility in, because your body is only as good as you take care of it. Think of your body like a Ferrari. All right. It's a Ferrari. You would not give it crappy gas. You would not buy Walmart oil. You would not forget to do the tune-ups. Think of your body like a Ferrari and take care of it like a Ferrari, because if you do, it will last you and last you and last you. So if you haven't tried the patches, as you all see, we are all 100% committed because they make a difference. If you find that you've been on the patches and you're struggling, or they're not quite doing what you think they should be doing, or you're not feeling something, don't give up. Go see the person that introduced you. Talk to them, because these patches work. You may just not have them exactly where the body needs it. You may just not have enough water. You may just need to do a couple of tweaks. One of the things we had talked about was copper. You may need to have a little bit more copper in your system to help your body. So don't give up on the patches. They work. You just may need to have a little bit of help and guidance to get them to work for you.
Excellent. Thank you. And we do have weekly patch calls that you can tap into so that you can ask our resident homeopath, Ta Kwan, questions, and you get those answers. So that's a really great meeting to also go to. So I want to thank you, Dr. Andrea, for your wisdom and your time tonight. We'll see you next month. And thank you so much for your time, everybody.